Everyone, welcome to the Graduate Story with Dorcas. I trust you're doing well. Welcome back to the Graduate Story. We are so sorry for the break in transmission. We are back with value-packed content which you don't want to miss out. So on today's episode, we're going to be having a very wonderful guest on board who will be sharing with us his experience after graduation, difference between the expectations he had and after graduation, and now currently pursuing his PhD in Pennsylvania. All right, so we're having Essien joining us all the way from Pennsylvania on the Graduate Story today. So keep tabs. So if you're watching the live, please say hi, say hello on the comment section. We'd love to send my hugs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're waiting for our guests to join. Yay! Finally, we're about to start. At some point, I almost got frustrated. I was like, what is this today again? Imagine me finally booking somebody all the way from Pennsylvania. My village people don't follow me come this year today. I was thrown there. Good to have you here, Etienne. How are you doing?
Finished from the Department of Mass Communication, the University of Cross River State with the first class by the grace of God. And while our end of the program should have been in 2020, but a lot of things came in, and a lot of things came in, and we rather finished in 2021 and then served in 2022 over 2023. So it was after my service. I finished my NYSC. Okay, I got this opportunity, this scholarship and the job offer in April, and I finished my NYSC in May. So I had finished it before, I had gotten the opportunity even before I finished my NYSC. And
wow. So, what would you say are the challenges of, studying or acquiring a PhD in a foreign country other than your home country?
yes, first of all, it can be very exciting. I am going to the US, I'm going to the UK, I'm going to Australia, this and that to study, but it has its own task too. For instance, you must come really, anybody coming around, for me to be very genuine, you must come very motivated, because you would question yourself if you are seated in a class and people younger than you are responding well and you are not saying anything. So one of the things one of the things I've experienced here is you don't have a choice, but you have to be excellent.
Oh wow!
And couple with the fact that you are on scholarship, so a lot of demands is placed on you. So you have all the resources that you can call, so you don't have an excuse not to be excellent. So one of the things that you come around here to say is culture shock. And was not expecting things to be like this. Why is it like this and all those things? Yeah. And that can be very overwhelming. Secondly, although it may be the same field of study, but these are different curriculum because they are operated in different countries. So sometimes you may need to drop a lot of things you have known before to pick new things. And if you are not a fast learner, the process can take a very long time. Yeah. The process can take a very long time. And another thing is, back home, I can remember that back home in Nigeria, I don't think I had somebody I can say, okay, this is my closest friend in the aspect of study. No, I don't think I did not. And when I was not a rude person, and I was not trying to be rude anyway, but in Nigeria, you can survive on your own. In Nigeria, you can stay on your own independently, and then you still be moving on. But here, one of the indicators of progress is networking. Wow. So you cannot just be doing everything on your own. If you do that, you won't gather as much information as possible. In fact, the table for the evaluation of what you have gathered will tell if you have effective relationship. So by the time the other person says, okay, I worked with this person and this person was focusing on this and I was focusing on this, and then they present diversity in their research. When you who worked alone and you could not focus everywhere because you are just one person, bring your own to the table, you will see that yours lacks some test. So the next time, you won't even need someone to tell you you need to work with somebody. So while Nigerian environment permits that independence and single commitment. This side, the US especially encourages networking, and
Like
there's beauty
for
in it
instance,
because there's beauty in it because by the time you're working with somebody from India and you're a Nigerian, then he brings his Indian perspective and you bring your African perspective. It's going to make the research very outstanding, and that's what they want here.
wow, wow. So the difference is teamwork, more of teamwork in this
Mhm,
doing the stuff.
yeah, more of teamwork.
Um,
Yeah,
wow,
and that's why a lot of persons are not brought into a particular program so that the team will be effective. For instance, in my program, we are just three persons, and I'm the only African by the grace of God. The other person is from Canada. The other person is from India. It's from Nepal in South Asia. So imagine me saying
wow,
I want to work alone. I'll just be presenting my African perspective, and then no, it will be very boring. So it is expected that in our diversity, we come around, build up something that stretches to our different origins while also bringing development to the host country.
wow, incredible. Wow, wow. Okay. What would you say about the your background is actually a first class. What would you say about people that have second class upper and second class, particularly second class lower people? It seems they don't stand a better chance of having scholarship or worthy scholarship to for some prestigious schools abroad. So what would you say based on your experience and qualify the second class people to have scholarship or to be offered scholarship by these schools?
Okay, what I want to say is this: is that Nigerian schools can be very funny. Sometimes somebody may be worth it to have that first class or second class upper, and because of some funny tendencies, the person may not have it. It can
Yeah.
happen, but there are different ways somebody can demonstrate that. Okay, fine, they did not give it to me, but I have it, and such platforms are made available here in the US. They understand what some of us go through in that country, like some of the things that go on there, they do. So, for instance, if I, as a first class graduate, by the grace of God, I, as a first class graduate, I finished and then I now sat back and I said, I finished with first class, I have arrived. I don't think I'll be here because
Okay.
I'll watch second class and even third class get in, and then I'll be back and I'll be at the back. So the thing is that coming here, nobody's really seeing the paper first class, second class. You have to demonstrate it. So if somebody who had third class or second class lower is able to demonstrate it more than you that had first class, they will close your eyes on you and pick him because it is the ability to demonstrate. Okay, for instance, still using myself as an example by the grace of God. I finished with first class and I have about 10 research publications. I have presented in about 4 conferences, both international and local.
Wow.
Telling somebody I'll be able to teach, they will believe me. They will believe it because, first of all, I've been able to demonstrate my research abilities by the grace of God. I've been able to demonstrate it. But if somebody did not finish with a second class, a first class, and all those things, but the person has all this research engagement, you have some papers, you have some things you have done, and then maybe you are invited for an interview because I was interviewed, and during the interview, I presented my doctoral proposal and they were impressed. So they now invite you and then you are able to do it. Nobody looks at what is written on your paper. They are now looking at your person because sometimes certificate is not the vivid reflection of the honor
Yeah.
because of certain tendencies. It's not a vivid. Some people are better than their certificates, and some people their
Yeah.
certificates are better than them. Some people they are just what their certificate says they are. There are some people that even with their first class, there are some people that even with their first class, they are far better than. If there is any other thing at the top after first class, those people are better than
Yeah.
it. There are some people that with
Yeah.
their first class, some third class will still do better than them. So in that case, the structure and the system in the US does not just work with what you are presenting on paper. You must demonstrate it. So
Okay.
any second class lower, third class, second class upper person who knows what he or she is doing in his field and has evidence to demonstrate that, okay, fine, even though I did not come out with first class, I know what I am doing and can demonstrate it, you'll be given the chance. That is the US for you.
Wow. I thought, thank you for clearing it. I thought people that have second class lower and then third class, they should know it's no go area for scholarship for
Mm,
PhD or something.
no.
O-
The
Okay,
same
so
thing with
they
people
put,
that have first class but cannot demonstrate it is a no-go area for them. Because
wow.
with their own eyes, they will see people they think they are better than going further than them. Of course, I've seen it several times.
Okay. So when you say demonstrate their, for example, demonstrate their competence or some experience that will make them that will offer them or that will make this opportunity easier for them to access. What metrics or what are the examples per se? What are they research work? Like you mentioned, conference and you presented at conferences and all of that. What are the clear?
Now, over the
Uh,
years, okay, all right. So over the years, I have built this resilience of working with Google. So I don't just sit down and wait for things to come. I go to them. For instance, most times I will sit down and go through my Google, call for papers, call for communication research, call for communication conferences. I am the one searching for these things, because if you do not search for them, you will not find them. These are good opportunities. And most times you can only really demonstrate your ability, your knowledge of your field in the company of experts. And where you find company of experts is in conferences or journals, submitting your articles to them, and then they reviewing it and saying, okay, fine. Because before an article is accepted for publications in journals, it goes through the hands of professors and experts in that field. So before they said, okay, this thing is good for publication, you are good. So when this committee sees things like this, they know the level they place you, because they know that at some point in time, you have already gone through some levels of accreditation and you are
yeah.
already outstanding. But and
Okay.
naturally too, if you are doing so well in your field of study and then nobody's really complimenting you, you are not putting out something for people to see, you are not putting out something for people to supervise or look at and say it is right or wrong, you may not even be able to determine the level of your growth. You may not even know whether you are doing well or not. And if the people at home keep clapping for you, it's not enough until you
Okay.
take your work outside. Yeah, until you take your work outside, and then if you get the same applause, then you should be motivated to do more. But if you do not get the same applause, probably the people back home will bias and they don't even want you to move further, or they themselves, they don't even know. So one of the
Yeah.
ways you put your work on the global stage is to present what you think you can do in conferences. Present what you think you can do in writing. So what I normally tell people is this: while research publication demonstrates your ability to write, conference presentations demonstrate your ability to speak. So
Okay.
yes, so if you are applying to a US school and you say you want to teach and you want to write, because your PhD research is writing and your teaching is speaking. So if you tell them you want to do these things and then you don't have all these evidences, it may be very hard for them to pick you. You understand? But somebody will say, so how do I get to see all these conferences? How do I get to see all these things? Google is your friend. I always say, as much as you can use Google to ask something as simple as what is a noun, you can use it to also find opportunities that will put you on the global front. For instance, when I was traveling to Abuja in 2021, some things happened, and then when returning back, we had to take Nasarawa State. So when we passed through some of those very local places, very interior places, I was like, oh, these people are really living in a kind of a terrible situation. And it birthed this research insight in my mind. So I took a picture of the place, came back to Calabar. I sat down, developed a research proposal from it. Even when I did not see any conference, anything, even when I did not see any of these things around. But at the point in time, I was still searching my And that's what I'm still doing now. When I have a research idea in my mind, I write it out, I propose it as if I am sending it to somebody immediately while I search for the opportunity and the platform to present it. So before you know, I had the opportunity to I saw an opportunity on Google that says there's going to be the first international academic conference on sustainable development goals, and it's going to be held here. It's going to be holding here that year in the Utah Valley University in Utah, a state in the US. I submitted it. At the point, I was like, and it was one of the first times I was trying to take my things out. I was like, would they accept it? And they accepted it. And that was the first time I would have been in the US, although then it came in when I was already doing my NYSC. So what am I trying to say? If they could accept it, I was then motivated to do more. So first of all, the motivation will not come to do more if you don't first take the little you have done outside and then get to hear what people have done. So there is opportunity for everybody if they are willing to search and to search patiently.
Okay, thank you so much. What would you say about career switch? For instance, is it possible for somebody that studied, for example, political science, BSc political science, to now do PhD in a different um, area entirely, like let's say business administration or something of that nature?
Yes, it is. It is very possible, in the sense that coming, um, coming, in the sense that a lot of things come into play. If you are actually saying you want to do a switch, you must demonstrate to the people you are applying to why you want to live where you are and why you feel you suit in well where you are going to. So sometimes passion is not enough. Some people may love something because people are excelling in it, but they don't have the capacity to excel in it themselves. So it's okay to switch. It's very okay to switch. For me, inside mass communication, I have switched several times. I came in with the mindset of doing journalism because that was what I knew from my secondary school. I was the press president in my secondary school, so I just thought mass communication was all about news. I came in. Before I knew, I switched. And this switching is not just because it's mass communication. All these fields have their distinct future, their peculiarities. And that is why the Nigerian University Commissions wants to unbundle mass communication, because it's a whole nonsense putting different people together and giving them one name. So the unbundling is in progress. So at first, next from journalism, I now switched to corporate communication. That one has nothing to do with the regular mass communication at all. In fact, doing corporate communication is like doing something in a public administration, public policy, and social work inside mass communication. Before you know, I switched again to this research. So what am I trying to say is, just before anybody wants to switch, there must be what we call self-evaluation. Can I do it well? Will I be sustaining it? Or is it tomorrow when I see something better, I'll now run out? Will I just keep being on the run? Will I be an academic fugitive? Something like that. People are academic fugitive. And because they're academic fugitive, they cannot profess. Because professionalism or being a professor implies that you are really deep in that thing and you know it very well. So people keep running around without knowing anyone. A jack of all trade and master of none is a total out of point. So to be able to switch, you must first of all evaluate yourself that you'll be able to do well. And then when you are able to evaluate yourself that you can do well, then you'll be able to tell somebody that you can do well. But if you cannot give yourself the explanation first, you may not be able to give someone else the explanation. Yeah, so that is it. But if it is switching, it is all right. It can be done based on your abilities. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you've done justice to a whole lot of um, things that might be confusing undergraduates and even those those that have not gotten into school yet. So, what would be your advice As someone that has been there, they say, I came, I saw, I conquer, that kind of. What would be your advice for our younger folks? What would be your advice generally? Your final words for them, those that are in school, those that are yet to go, get into school, in terms of academic success and everything, career, that they have to know that they have to be successful. Like, what's your final word for them?
Okay, my final word for everybody is don't be traditional. Everybody comes to school in the morning and goes home in the afternoon, and you are doing the same. You will get the same result. I can remember back home, a lot of things really played out, but there are things you can do that will make you stand out. Now, okay, I just want to make this statement. Like I finished in 2021, and a lot of persons did not have a job, including me. And you know what that means when you're done with your university, and of course everybody will be expecting now you should be able to do well. I don't know who gave Nigeria that perception. But at a point in time, I don't know who. So I was now consulting, doing some research consultations for my classmates. I always acknowledge my classmates in that regard. Some of them who were very busy, who were already working and did not have the time to handle their research. I helped them do that. And it did not just give me an extra cash in my pocket, it was preparing me to be better. So towards February 2022, I got a call from Lagos that I was recommended to handle a research for some United Kingdom master students, which I did by the grace of God, and I did well. And I got the job, a remote job as a research consultant. Now, this is the job that has always put food on my table. So I'm sorry to use myself as an example, but I just want to be precise. So if I had not really dedicated my time to knowing how to do this research, first, I would not have been able to do it for my classmates and for whoever recommended me, whom I don't know up to today, and I would not have been able to put food on my table, take care of myself very well before even sponsoring myself by the grace of God to the United States here, the travel plans and a lot of things. So what I'm trying to say is there are things you don't need to work because you don't need to be a medical doctor because you studied medicine and surgery. No. You don't need to be a lawyer because you did law. No. There is what we call the research aspect of every field of study. You can be doing consulting, consultation, consultancy for people that are in this field, help them, assist them with their research, lecture them, take them on, and still collect your kind of money that even those that are doing the industry will not even have it. So it's not enough to say there's no job in Nigeria. There are silent jobs, but the thing is that people are not ready to put in the work to develop themselves. There are silent jobs. For now, I am into digital activism and digital capitalism research. So if I want to really introduce myself, for now I'm a communication researcher and instructor. Yeah. I felt that I would do better in communication research